Leo sat in the back of the classroom, staring blankly at the paper in front of him. Another red F stared back at him, like a wound that refused to heal. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't stupid, but the words blurred, the numbers danced, and time always slipped away before he could finish. Other kids rolled their eyes when grades came out. One boy smirked and whispered, "Why even bother?" The teacher barely looked at him anymore, just sighed and moved on. At home, things weren't better. His mother worked 2 jobs. His father wasn't around. Homework was just another reminder that he didn't fit into a world built for kids who always knew the answers. He stopped raising his hand, stopped trying, stopped believing he had anything worth saying. But deep inside, Leo knew there was more. He just didn't know how to show it, and no one seemed to care enough to find out. Until the day she walked in, a substitute teacher with messy curls, scuffed shoes, and a spark in her eyes. "Good morning," she said, with a smile that didn't feel forced. "My name is Ms. Reyes. Let's try something different today." Leo didn't lift his head. Just another adult who'd eventually give up on him like the rest. But Ms. Reyes didn't look away. She looked straight at him. And in that moment, something small flickered inside him. Something that hadn't been there in a very, very long time. Ms. Reyes didn't start the lesson with a textbook. She handed out blank sheets of paper instead. "Write me a story," she said. "Any story. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be real." Most of the class groaned. Some started scribbling half-heartedly. But Leo just stared at the page, frozen. Words had never been his friends. They slipped away the moment he tried to hold them. Miss Reyes walked by his desk and paused. She didn't pressure him, didn't lecture him. She just said, "If you'd rather draw your story, that's fine too." Leo blinked. No teacher had ever said that before. Draw? He'd never thought of that as an option. Slowly, cautiously, he picked up his pencil and began to sketch. An astronaut drifting alone in space, lost but searching. A planet in the distance, glowing, unknown, full of hope. For the first time, his hand moved without fear. By the time class ended, his page was full. Ms. Reyes walked by, glanced at the drawing, and smiled. Not the polite kind, but the kind that meant something. "This," she said quietly, "is brilliant." Leo didn't say a word, but inside, something cracked. Not from pain this time, from possibility. The next day, Leo arrived to class 5 minutes early. Not because anyone told him to, but because for the first time in forever, he wanted to. Ms. Reyes greeted him with the same warm smile. She handed him another blank sheet. "Draw how today feels," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Yes, today," she added. "Not yesterday, not last week, just now." Leo hesitated, then, slowly, started drawing again. This time, a small tree growing out of cracked pavement, crooked but alive, reaching toward light. Ms. Reyes didn't say much. She just looked at the page and nodded like she'd just been handed a secret. Over the next few weeks, Leo kept drawing, and Ms. Reyes kept watching, really watching. She noticed things no one else had. The way he tapped his pencil when he was thinking, how he remembered every detail when a lesson was told like a story, how he zoned out when words were dry, but lit up when images spoke. She didn't try to fix him. She adapted the way she taught. One afternoon, she stayed after class. "Leo," she said gently, "have you ever been tested for dyslexia?" Leo's stomach dropped. He'd heard the word before, but always in hushed tones, like something to be ashamed of. "It doesn't mean you're broken," she added quickly. "It means your brain works differently, and maybe that's a strength." No one had ever called it that before. For the first time in his life, Leo saw his mind not as a mistake, but as something different, unique. Ms. Reyes helped him get tested, confirm the dyslexia, and more importantly, explained it to him in a way that made sense. "It's not that you can't learn," she said. "It's that schools don't always know how to teach people like you. But that doesn't mean you don't belong here." Leo began using tools he never knew existed. Audiobooks, colored overlays, speech to text. His test scores didn't skyrocket overnight, but his confidence did. Other teachers started to notice too. The boy who never raised his hand began asking questions. The kid they called lazy stayed after class to finish projects, on his own terms, in his own way. One day, during art period, the school held a contest. Theme: Your Inner World. Leo submitted a full-page drawing. A boy made of glass, filled with swirling storms, stars, scars, and light. The judges didn't just like it, they loved it. He won first place. They called him on stage, lights shining, applause echoing. Leo looked out into the crowd and saw Ms. Reyes clapping, tears in her eyes. And for the first time, Leo stood tall, not because someone pulled him up, but because he finally believed he belonged there. Winning the art contest didn't magically fix everything. Some classmates still saw him as that kid who fails math. Some teachers still taught the same old way, expecting him to fall behind again. And truthfully, some days, he did. There were moments when Leo still doubted himself, when a page full of tangled letters made him feel small all over again, when the world felt like a race he was never built to run. One afternoon, Ms. Reyes asked him to stay after class. She placed 2 drawings on the desk, one from the first day he met her, the lonely astronaut, and one from last week, the glass boy full of stars. "You've come a long way," she said. Leo nodded, unsure what to say. She leaned in. "But now, I want to ask you something harder." He looked up. "Will you speak at the school assembly? Share your story? Let them see what I see." His heart thudded in his chest. Him, Speak? The boy who used to hide in the back of the room? I'm not good with words, he said softly. Ms. Reyes smiled. You don't need perfect words. You just need your voice. That's enough. He stared at the two drawings again, one lost, one full of light. Maybe it was time to connect them. The auditorium was packed. Students whispered. Teachers sat with arms crossed. Most didn't know who was about to walk on stage. Just that quiet kid from art class. Backstage, Leo's hands shook. He held the two drawings in a folder, the astronaut and the boy of glass. His stomach turned, but he remembered what Ms. Reyes had told him. Your voice doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be yours. They called his name. He stepped into the light. For a second, the room blurred. Then he breathed and began. He didn't read from a script. He didn't use big words. He just spoke about feeling invisible, about failing over and over again, about how one teacher didn't try to fix him. She just saw him, and how that was enough to make him see himself differently. He held up the first drawing. This, he said, was how I felt. Then the second. And this is who I'm becoming. Silence. Then, slowly, a wave of applause. Not polite, not automatic, real, from students who saw themselves in him, from teachers who remembered why they started teaching, from a world that had finally, truly seen him. After the assembly, kids came up to him, some with tears, some with questions. One just said, "Thank you. I thought I was the only one." Leo smiled, full, proud, real. He didn't become the best in math. He didn't become famous. But he became something more. He became heard.